All right, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tracy Link, and I'm president of Integrity Security Service. I am a proud member of Hatch, and I'm going to pitch tonight a little bit. How many of you guys actually have a business and are up and running? So what I'm working on is a new sales presentation for some of my customers. So it's a little bit more focused on what I do. But I'm very much about small business building. So at the end, please feel free to give me feedback on what you think, but also ask questions. You know, if you're just getting started, and I know a lot of people are here because they're just starting that journey. My business turns 3 in June. So the idea that I even have to build a presentation like this is really cool. We are moving out of the startup community and into a big thing. So anyway, so I'm going to get going. I'd like to introduce you all today to Integrity Security Services. Very simple. We were founded in June of 2014 in a back bedroom in Portsmouth, and we keep our offices in Portsmouth. Very simply put, I provide armed and unarmed security officers and the plans and orders that they operate from. And our primary mission is no missed watches. So if the customer asks us to come for X number of hours, then I make sure that happens. We are an award-winning team. I'm very proud of the things that we've accomplished in a very short period of time. I'm an alumnus of the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses Initiative. I actually attended their national cohort last fall and traveled to Wellesley, Massachusetts to study. I'm also a graduate of the Lefko Leadership Development Program in Portsmouth, and that's a phenomenal program for emerging leaders. I am a 2016 recipient of Inside Business Entrepreneurial Excellence Awards, but the most important thing for a security service buyer is I am a 17-year veteran of guard operations and management, and I know how to do exactly what I do. So I have a team. This is kind of new for us. We actually have a chief of operations, Dee Smith. He just came to work for us from a national company, and he has a lot of industrial experience as well as experience in large-scale shopping, security malls, mall services for security. I also have a head of security personnel. Her name is Captain Dee Spivey, and she's an inaugural employee of my company. And one of the best things about our company is lack of turnover. We do a lot of hiring. However, we do not do a lot of firing, or people don't quit, and it's a really beautiful thing in our line of work. Internally, we now have a full-time scheduler that handles all of the operations needs and making sure the security officers know when to show up. And we have an HR generalist who handles their payroll benefits, making sure they get paid, making sure they're in compliance with state regulations. And here's the very important thing about my company. Every single person working is a security officer, myself included. I will don a uniform in order to cover a watch and make sure that my customers are getting the service that they requested. Now, for us to be exceptional while still small, we have to have a few software partners. Two of the important ones, GuardTech is a real-time web-based application that monitors not only that security officers are doing their rounds, it does geofencing, it does live incident reporting, it does data collection, and it also takes pictures of important things such as lights out and things such as a trip hazard that's in a conspicuous place in your property. So you as the business owner know what's going on when you're not there and know what's going on that needs addressed when you come back in. We also use ShiftBoard as a real-time scheduling system. It tells our security officers when to go. They clock in and out on that system. And it also tells them when it's time for them to go back and get trained by the state for various things. Now, this is my favorite page. Integrity Security has been in business for just over 2.5 years. And yet, we have provided security service to some of the biggest names in the region as well as across the nation. First Advantage Credit Union, CNN News Network, Top Guard Security. My biggest competitor is my biggest customer. Norfolk State University, Michael Kors. If you ever notice, I always carry their bags. Apple stores. Wheelabrator Technologies, and Wheelabrator is the trash tipping facility here in Hampton Roads for all of our waste. Some property management companies, Rite Aid, Days Inn. So all of these people have put their faith in my services in order to get their security accomplished. So hiring us, very simple thing. We don't ask for a long-term commitment. We tell you got 7 days. You don't like my service, cancel. Within 7 days, I will be off your property and out of the way. I don't know if it really works that way because I've never had anybody ask. But if I decide to cancel service, there again, something I've never done. But I will give you 60 days notice so that you have proper and ample time to get a new security service provider in there and make sure that the service is running before we exit the property. We never charge for overtime. Now, I'm not saying I don't pay overtime, and I pay extra for all the holidays that my people work. However, that is not a cost you're going to incur in your bottom line. And each week on Monday, you'll receive clear, concise billing telling you exactly when we work and how much you owe us. And it's just an easy thing. So, after you sign, what should you expect? And a lot of times people don't understand that there's actually a transition process. So what I've done here is I've put out a transition plan, hiring incumbents. I'm sure some of y'all have security officers you'd like me to retain on your behalf, and I will go ahead and hire them. We do all of this. We use your input in order to design this form, and then we're going to send you a weekly email telling you as we achieve each aspect of our transition. And so that by the time we hit launch day, we are completely transitioned onto the property. The security officers are already trained for the service, and they're ready to go. What do you got to do next? Sign my service agreement. Once you sign that, within 24 hours, you're going to have your initial transition plan, the first draft. You can give me back the information that you need to give me in order to tweak the services the way you want. And then by launch day, I will have full operational capabilities at your site. So please give me a call, sign my agreement, and thank you. Questions? Questions about startup? I know not everybody likes security service, believe me. I know it's not glamorous. But you know, hey, if you guys are thinking of starting a business, I did not reinvent the wheel. I did not do something unusual. I am in the business of collecting long-term serviceable contracts. My company provides the service for it. And the idea is to collect the first contract, which I still have, the second one I still have, and keep that going. So each year you get bigger and bigger contracts, you collect larger and larger checks. So that's the business model for Integrity Security, and I am pretty well versed at how to answer questions on business service contracting. So if you guys have questions about that, go ahead and answer those. Yes?
How do you go with the processes for your employees and your team to follow? You're doing a lot of the same stuff.
A lot of it, there's actually, well, Google's always good. Never underestimate the power of a search engine. But actually a lot of it, because of my years of experience, there are just certain things that are inherent at every site. There's certain skill sets that the security officer needs to present. And then the customer will tell you specifically, for instance, if we were securing this facility, we know that the 2 outer doors need to be locked at 10 o'clock every night. So there will be a procedure in there. What did you do at 10 o'clock? You know, go lock the front door, make sure it's secure. And then every hour go back and make sure that door is still locked. So a lot of it is a repetition of duties that a security officer has to perform. And depending on the needs of the building or the client and what they're looking for, we do everything from retail sales, loss prevention to industrial security. Actually, this is more for an industrial security client where there's large-scale facilities and fencing everywhere and geo-posting is necessary. So,
What, since you decided to start security organization, reinvent the wheel, what do you think that you could run a company successfully from start to finish?
Good question. I actually worked for a company for the first 10 years that is now a national company.
Yeah.
And I had the distinct privilege, and look, who is it? Branson says, if somebody says, try this, and even if you don't know how to do it, try it anyway. I worked for a company that was very much the size mine is right now, when I started, and I took it to 150 employees and about $3.5 million in annual sales, and the owner sold it. And I had a choice at that time to walk away, go to work for the new company, or stay on long enough to transition it over. So I not only learned how to build it, but I learned how to sell it. And exit strategies when you're starting a business are fundamentally important. If you're gonna start a business and you don't have a plan of action for kind of every step of the way, but I'd never seen exit. And so I had that opportunity to see exit. I did try a second time after the first company was Eagle Security, operating out of Portsmouth for about 15 years. And I tried a second time with a partner, and he and I did not have the same vision. Now, from a marketing perspective, my last name is Link. Link Security is a phenomenal name for a security guard service company. The name of my company is Integrity. So when I decided to name it, I decided to name it for the values I represented, not only for myself, but for how I treated my employees, because that really is a strong piece of what our business culture looks like, but also how I wanted my customers to feel when they did business with us, is that there was that integrity piece. And it's not always prevalent when it comes to human capital type businesses. So that was kind of the model for it. And I absolutely had no idea if I could. So I was unemployed, and unemployed people do desperate things. I share this story with my friends. I've shared it with Hatch before. I was unemployed, my partnership had dissolved, and I was no longer working anywhere. My mother sent me a check for $500 in a letter, and the letter said, "Dear Tracy, get a job. Here's $500, buy some groceries, pay some bills, get a job, get a job, get a job." And I took that $500, which was ironically the exact amount of money the state of Virginia requires for the first year of operating a security guard service provider, and I sent them the money. She was a little mad, but when she sat next to me at Entrepreneurial Excellence, she was a little over it. So she's quite proud of it now, and she knows that it's changing my outcome and certainly that of my family. So, anybody else?